All right. Welcome everyone to the first video on my channel. I am the Irrational Liberal, and we're going to be reacting to this video. Man humbles a room full of women. And playing RimWorld at the same time. Starting a brand new colony. So, let's get into it. We are gonna go with my favorite, honestly, is the Cinephage start. Just because Cinephages are super strong and they don't die. And I can make my other colonists into a Cinephage. And I love playing with melee after last game. Maybe we'll even go for a Psycaster, but I'm not sure yet. My favorite, we're playing with a bunch of mods, by the way, which will be posted in the description if I feel like it. So probably not. Since this will be a shorter video, we're going to do Winston Waves on the hardest difficulty. Just reload just in case something dumb happens, and I'll have to change that. So we're just going to head straight into it. See if there's anything decent to land on. And I prefer mountain bases because I don't like challenges. So probably going to go on something mountain-ish. But I hope I'm close to a road and a couple other factions so I can do easy raids and stuff. And once I get 2 or 3 decent Cinephages, I can probably start taking out some settlements, especially the tribal ones. Get a Persona Monosword and a couple of Bionics, and you can take out an entire tribal village with just one guy. That's what I did on my last save. But yeah, okay, let's open up this video and get it started.
One more question. We had this person at the back in the stripes. Yeah, let's hear from you.
During the dating period, you know, after like 4 or 5 months of dating, I just wondering at what point do you have to pay, do the women have to pay when they go out? The guy is asking that there should be half and half at that point when you already...
At what point?
When you already been dating for 4 or 5 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, okay, to give you a quick answer on, firstly, I think we should just deal with the who should pay thing to begin with. When you're on a date, who should pay?
Don't date these women.
Surprise, surprise.
I know. I mean, that's what I told him. You know, I'm sorry.
But-
I would say, I'm dating. We're dating. You
But
know,
here's
the
the-
gentleman here.
Here,
You're supposed
okay.
to pay.
He's supposed to pay.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
But you're supposed to have sex with him whenever he says.
No.
Not a single person in the history of mankind has ever equivocated those two things. So, on one hand, she's like, I think the guy should pay for me. I'm kind of a queen. You know, I deserve the special treatment because I'm kind of better than him. But that's just kind of old rules of society, you know. Hopefully we don't live like them these days, and that's why I don't recommend you do. But, you know, she still lives by those rules. She was probably taught that by her parents. But for him to immediately clap back and say, oh, well, you want him to pay on a date? Should he be able to violate your body whenever he feels like it? Like, that's a completely different thing. I just don't understand how you can equivocate those two things at all. Like, it's showing that it comes from a man who obviously doesn't have a good understanding of how his partner feels about sex in general.
Whenever Walt.
Where does this double standard come from?
Oh yeah, we're gonna pick this spot, by the way, because it's decent. I don't really care about farmland or anything like that.
I'm sorry, it's the reality. You guys can moan at it all you want, but the moment you say to a guy, you have to fucking pay for my time.
What I don't like is the fact she said he's supposed to pay. That's what most men don't like. Most men are probably going to offer, but it's just the expectation that most guys don't like.
You're saying this relationship...
That is not true. The whole dynamic of the relationship changes when something like that happens. When a woman asks you to pay for her meal, it sets in standard how it's going to be from then on out. And then you have to change that standard rather than establishing the correct standard to begin with. Like, when we start dating, we kind of establish the standard that we both like spending time with each other, because that's the only reason why you would want to date somebody, unless it's, you know, a niche case or an arranged marriage or something like that. But something like that will lead to a whole lot of different things. Like, if you start off with, I'm going to pay for the date, that could lead into some bad areas where you're paying for other stuff, where she has these more traditional mindset about a lot of things. And it should be a big red flag right off the start, honestly, in my opinion.
Relationship isn't equal. This relationship isn't equal. My time is worth more than yours, so you should pay for it. I wonder what paradigm that sets up. Here's my view. If you go on a date with a guy and you don't offer to pay your share, you weren't taught right. If you go on a date and he doesn't pay, he wasn't taught right.
This is brain dead. If you have a parent that was born after 2000, which, I mean, that's a little, you'd be a little young at this point. I don't know, 20 to 23, that's like the majority dating age, right? If you have a parent born after 2000 and they teach you, as a guy, you should pay for the woman on the first date, you had bad parents. No one should be doing that. We have moved on and progressed as a society way past that point, and if your mom said that to you or your dad said that to you, they are living in the 1960s, and they learned that shit from their parents who learned it from their parents, and it was just the culture back then. But you have to, when the culture changes, like it has changed, and that's why we're having this discussion in the first place, you have to teach your kids that. Like, it's not acceptable to teach your kids stupid, fucked up shit that doesn't apply in the real world today, and then have them repeating, because then through that, you're going to be teaching women that are going on dates with your son that it's okay to ask for stuff like that when it's not. There's a big difference between saying a man should pay on a date and I'm broke and I want to go on a date with you, but I can't pay, and he offers to pay. Nobody should be offering to pay unless there's a special circumstance. The expectation should always be that it's split 50-50, because neither one of you is better than the other, and both of you are contributing equally to the situation.
I can tell you right now, if I was dating someone and they never offered to pay, I wouldn't be dating them. I can tell you that now. If they never offered to pay, I would not be dating them.
Another brain dead take. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Nobody should offer to pay, ever. Unless you're like, no, it just sets a terrible precedent for the relationship, that I'm going to use my dollars to do something nice for you. Which, I guess, there's a big difference between offering to pay for something and like giving your girlfriend a ring, or giving your girlfriend something else that you bought with money. But the whole money equals love like dynamic that we have going on in today's society, to a lesser extent than it used to be, but still, is terrible. I mean, in an ideal world, a like handmade card or a handmade painting or something should be worth more than the most expensive diamond ring in the world, because of the amount of time that they took just thinking about you to create something like that. When they're giving you something like a diamond ring, they're giving you the time that they were working. That doesn't mean anything. That's not significant to the relationship. That's not something that you can look back on and say, he valued us here. That's just something that said, he just spent his money on me, which doesn't mean a whole lot, honestly.
Because I'd say this is the most polite they're ever going to be. And they're
Thanks.
not even trying to pay now. What does that say about my future?
It's not polite to pay on the first date. It's not. You're just setting a bad example. Like, if it was in the culture that, you know, whenever your partner was upset or something, that they should be able to punch you in the face to let off some steam. It's not polite to do that. It's bad. It's bad. It should be equal.
But look, let me come at this from a different angle. I will always treat my partner how I would treat my best friend. And I wouldn't apply a different standard to my partner than my best friend. I wouldn't say to my best friend,
there's a big difference between your partner and your best friend, but the general concept still applies. If you want to give a gift to your best friend or your partner, the best way to do it healthily is not to give something money-wise. Like you can pay for art supplies, you can pay for a card, but the way to show that you care about somebody, which should be normalized and should be the standard for everyone, is you're taking time out of your day to do something while thinking about them. It should be either handmade, or it should be a project that you made online, or it should be something that you put a significant amount of time into that's not just working. If you can get an anniversary or a gift for somebody that really means something, and it took you less than a day worth of work to get that for them, then it doesn't mean that much.
Go out to dinner and you always pay. I'd say let's be teammates here in whatever way we can. And maybe, by the way, proportionately, what you can do is less than what he can do. That's a different thing. If he says to you, I want to go stay at the top hotel in Big Sur this weekend, and it's $1,500 a night, and you say, I don't have the money. It's his job to say, it doesn't matter. I didn't do it so you could pay. I did it because I want to go and I want to take you. Great. That's what that is.
Okay. I actually totally agree with this point. If there's an exception to the rule that I made earlier, it's in a way that you spending your money to allow someone access to an event or just an experience that you want them to have access to, and you can use your money on that, you're really gifting them the experience, not the money that you spent or the hotel room or whatever it is. You want them to have that experience with you, so you're paying for that. It's a nice thing to do, but I wouldn't exactly call it a gift, because it's not like you're dedicating any time to them. The mere act of paying isn't the same thing as having a good time with them on the trip. Now that can be more of a quote-unquote gift. If you go and you guys have a great time and you're nice and you make it fun, that's the gift, not allowing them access to the experience in the first place.
Right? Or if you both agree to go on holiday and you have a fifth of his earning potential, you say, I want to contribute to a fifth of this holiday. It's overly simplistic, but you get what I'm saying.
Same concept.
Right? I'll contribute on the level I can contribute. Let me tell you what means something to a guy. Trying. That means something to a...
True.
A guy. When he feels that you're not even trying to contribute, that's when he feels...
There are some people out there who think that they can do absolutely nothing in a relationship for their partner and don't understand why their partner has certain expectations for them. If you get into a relationship, it is like a job. You are going to have to put effort into it consistently, all the time. Whether that's communicating when you don't feel like communicating, or just working on stuff, doing chores or whatever. You have to spend time to make your partner happy and kind of earn your keep in the relationship. It's not free.
Feels used. Because any guy who's really confident and self-respecting, if the woman never is even trying to contribute, he feels like he's being taken advantage of. And it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the lack of gesture.
I disagree. I don't think that he feels like he's being taken advantage of. I just feel like he's gonna feel lonely. He's gonna feel like he's lacking the fundamental things in the relationship. He feels like you guys both signed up for an agreement, and if you're not holding up your end of the agreement, it's not that I'm being taken advantage of. It's that we made this agreement and you're not sticking to it. I don't know. It sounds a little convoluted, but I wouldn't say that you feel like you're being taken advantage of. It's more like you feel like something has changed, or that you did something wrong, and that they're reacting this way for a particular type of reason. And that's going to destroy the psyche of anyone that you're with. If you consistently behave a way that your partner doesn't like, And they try to talk to you about it. They try to get you to change. They try to change the dynamic, but that's just your belief system. Like, of course, you wouldn't change your attitude because you came into the relationship thinking a certain thing, and either you were unaware or they were unaware, but there's not going to be any changes in the future.
So I would be looking at, if you like this guy, maybe if you're in different positions, figure out what you want to contribute proportionately or what you can contribute proportionately and treat him as you would your best friend.
So yeah, what he's saying links into what I'm saying.
I disagree. When I don't give a shit about proportionality because I'm not talking about money, even though this guy might be talking about money. Whatever standards that you agree to at the beginning of your relationship need to be communicated, and you need to know the expectations from you and your partner. And if those change, that needs to be a communication thing. You can't just say, oh, I'm contributing as much as I can. No, you need to change the expectations or you need to pick up the slack. There's no in between.
It's more about the gesture. We don't like to be expected to pay. And no question at the beginning was who should pay after 4 or 5 months of dating. Should the woman start to pay? And I've said this before on this channel. If you've invited a girl out on a date the first time, then you should pay because you've invited them out. Like if you invite a friend out, usually if
This is the most 20 IQ take ever. Like, he's just saying the same thing over and over again. Is that really? Like, do people actually listen to this stuff?
you invite them for dinner, you'd be like, look, I'll pay. I invited you, right? Now, if you've been going on a string of dates for 3 or 4 months and she's still not even...
If you invite someone to dinner and they accept, the expectation is that they should pay with your own dinner. The experience is what you're inviting them to. They have to pay for the food at that experience. And by signing up for that experience, they're offering to pay.
offered or tried to pay for anything, then that's just rude. And like he said, any self-respecting man's not going to take that. He's not going to like being taken advantage of. And if you...
The problem is 99% of men who get into relationships, especially with women that they think are out of their league, have almost no self-respect. And that's not the woman's fault, but if you muddy the expectations going into the relationship and you're a bad communicator, of course nothing's going to be able to get fixed. Because you set a bad standard, either one that you exceed way too much and is not what he wants, or you never are gonna live up to. And there's nothing he can do about that because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing because he's stupid and immature. And men need to grow up, but everybody needs to grow up, especially when you're young.
If you stay with a woman like that and you set that tone at the beginning of paying for everything, then your future is looking expensive, bruv. So in my opinion, if it's been 3 or 4 months, she's been inviting you to some dates, not paid for anything, and she's not even offering to contribute a little bit, then there's only one place she belongs.
She belongs to the streets.
I be hearing the way y'all talk about it.
All right. And that wraps up the video. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit subscribe if you want to see me rant about more dumb things. And leave a comment telling me how bad this was and what I can fix because it's my first video. All right, peace out.